Hey guys, my name is Victoria, welcome back to my channel. I'm hopping on the trend with the 22 books I'm excited to read in 2022. We're going to start right away because I don't want this intro to be too long. I'm going to tell you about 22 books, again, that I really want to read and would be very frustrated with myself if I couldn't get to them. Let's start. I wrote them all down and I don't know how much I can say about these books yet, but we'll start with number 1, The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. It has been on my TBR for over a year now. I got it for my birthday last year in February and I don't know why I didn't get to it. Everyone says that it's amazing. It's about 2 siblings. They live very different worlds and go as white passing, and one of them decides to take advantage of that lifestyle and the other one doesn't. And I really want to read it because everyone says that it's amazing, but I still couldn't get to it. I don't know why. Number 2 is The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. By the way, I found out that the author is also called Victoria, which is fun. I also got this for my birthday last year and didn't get to it. It's about Eddie LaRue who makes like a pact with the devil, I think, and she gets to live forever, but she will be forgotten by everyone she meets the second that she's out of their eyesight. So eventually no one remembers her. And people say that it's the most amazing book that they read in 2020, and I need to read it. I need to read it. I need to get to this. The next one is one that everyone in the last few months has been talking about. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak? Not sure how it's said. It's set in Germany during World War II and everyone says that it's amazing. I think it's about a girl who steals books, basically being the book thief. I'm not sure, but everyone says that it's amazing, including one of my closest friends, Julie, and I really want to get to it this year. I'm gonna ask for it for my birthday, I think. Number 4 is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I started this book a few weeks ago and got to like page 20 and didn't continue, but I do plan on reading this. A lot of people say that this is one of the best books by Charles Dickens, and I know that there's lots of references that I would like to understand, and it's just a classic that I want to say, yes, I read this book. And since I actually really enjoyed the first few pages, I would love to finish it this year. Number 5 is also a classic, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I got this for Christmas, a beautiful copy, and everyone says that it's such a good classic, and I really want to read it. I'm really in the mood for such a book. And the thing about reading classics is you know that they're slow paced and you know that they're sometimes a bit you're hard to understand, not only because of the language but also because of the time. But every time I finish a classic, I feel like, just as I do when I read Shakespeare, I've done so much for my education. So yeah, that's the next book I want to read. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas is number 6 on this list. I've had this on my TBR also for quite a long time. People in 2020 talked a lot about this book and it's apparently very important. It's all about race and police brutality against people of color. And people said that it's amazingly written and I want to read it before I watch the movie. So that is something I really want to read. Number 7 is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the second part in the Last Hours trilogy. My dog is going to bark. I'm sorry about that. This is a prequel to The Mortal Instruments and a sequel to The Infernal Devices. It's a lot. And since I love Chain of Gold, I can't wait to get into Chain of Iron. I think it's going to be amazing and heartbreaking again. And yeah, I have it. I've had it for quite some time and I still haven't got to it because it's a big book. I combined 4 books as my number 8 because I think they're too boring to put into different numbers. I want to read the Twilight Saga by Stephenie Meyer. I became an obsessive consumer of the Twilight movies in like, I think November. I watched them every day. And I don't think we need to talk about the quality of these books and the quality of the writing and the characters because we know that they are so flawed, but somehow I still want to read them because somehow these became like comfort movies, even though they're really bad. And what I also love about the Twilight community, which is also why I was so obsessed with them like a few months ago, knows about the mistreatment of the Hellüüü tribe that was horribly represented in the books, that put a lot of harm to this community. And I feel like the Twilight fandom tries to do everything they can in order to support and spread love about this tribe, which I really like. I feel like this community is very aware. And I also bought the book secondhand, so that's what I would recommend. Number 9 is also a very controversial book, Call Me By Your Name by Andre Esserman. A lot of people hate the age gap between the 2 protagonists. Hellüüü and Oliver meet in one summer and yeah, they fall in love. I gotta say, I do love the movie. I love the atmosphere, the music, and Timothée Chalamet is an amazing actor. And that movie always reminds me of my best friend because I watched that movie with her, and every time I really miss her, I like watch the movie and I'm like, I feel like she's there with me because I moved away and we don't see each other a lot. So yeah, I really want to read the book because everyone says that the writing is absolutely gorgeous. Another classic that I want to read is Emma by Jane Austen. People say it's her best, and I surprisingly loved Pride and Prejudice. I read it with Julie, and that was so much fun. I also loved watching the movie afterwards, and I gotta say, I had to watch the movie. I watched it before reading the book, but I know when it's starting to get warm this year, I will read this book. Number 11 is Cersei by Madeline Miller, which I can't believe I haven't read yet. I don't know why. I also got this for my birthday last year, and I don't know why I didn't read it yet. It's said to be an amazing Greek mythology retelling. I loved The Song of Achilles, and I have very high expectations for Cersei, and maybe that's the reason why I didn't get to it yet. The next one is also one that I've had on my TBR since summer last year. I've had the book for quite some time. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Some people say it's absolutely amazing. It's about a girl who meets another girl on a train and falls in love with her, but soon realizes that this girl is actually from the 80s or 70s? I don't know. I think she's from the 80s and can't get off this train, which I'm so excited about. Like, the story sounds, the premise sounds amazing, but somehow I got this book while being in a very long reading slump and couldn't get to it, but I really want to read it this year. And some people really loved it, and some people said that it was not as good as Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I read in January of 2021. So I hope I can make some time for it this year. Number 13 is a book that is currently hyped by so many people, and that became one of their favorites in the whole of 2021. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. It's a very important story about sexual harassment and feminism and being a woman in society, and people say it's amazing. The raw emotion that apparently is in this book is said to be absolutely stunning and heartbreaking as well, and I badly want to read this because these stories are so important, and it's so important to listen to these stories. And yeah, that's a book that I really, really want to get to, especially because so many said that it's amazing. Number 14 is a straight romance, which I don't read a lot, okay? I don't. I watched movies since I was very young, and you have a straight romance in every single movie, and you get tired after a while. And when I read books, I love to read about other love stories. But this one caught my attention. It's You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. This is about a girl whose boyfriend sadly died, and she keeps calling his number, she keeps calling him on the phone to hear his voice. But one day, apparently, he picks up. And that alone sounds very intriguing. And I watched a TikTok by a girl who finished that book, who immediately made a TikTok afterwards and was sobbing her eyes out. And if a romance is said to make people cry, it's more appealing to me somehow. So yeah, I feel like this is also the year I'm getting into more romance. I read a lot of romance last year as well, but yeah, somehow this just caught my attention. Number 15 is a classic around booktube, I think, or book talk, whatever. If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. A book about, I think, a society in college that discusses Shakespeare, apparently. And apparently, one day, a person out of that group gets murdered. And I think it's about solving that and finding out what really happened, told with lots of Shakespeare's references, apparently. And I want to read it after, like, experiencing most of Shakespeare's most famous plays. I do not only want to read it because of the Shakespeare aspect, because I love Shakespeare, but also because people say it's really amazing, and I feel like this could be a great book for fall. Some people really hate it, some people really love it. I love such books. Number 16 is also a book that was celebrated and loved last year. 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. A book also very important about people of color. It's a love story between two people. A book that is said to be very important, that tackles very hard topics, and that is apparently very heartbreaking, and people love the representation in this book. I really, really badly want to read that. Preferably in June. 6 books are left, and the next one is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. Also one that I wanted to get into last year, but couldn't because I didn't have the book. I also still don't have it. But I think it's about a nanny who is supposed to watch over a kid, and there's a misunderstanding in a supermarket because a woman thinks that the nanny, who's a woman of color, kidnapped this kid. My battery died. Sorry about that. People said it was amazing, and they said that it was such a fast-paced book and they couldn't stop reading. I'm excited to get into it. Number 18 is A Marvelous Light by Freya Mars. A queer love story about 2 guys, and it has the trope of I thought I was normal, but suddenly I'm in this society, suddenly I'm part of a society that does magic. And I was a bit sick of that for a long time, but this just sounds really good, and I follow someone on TikTok who recommended a lot of books that I loved, and they said that this book was amazing and I really want to get into it. Also, the cover is really pretty, I believe. The next book I want to read is a series, actually. I want to get into the Percy Jackson books. And we do have them in German. And because my brain is weird, I don't like reading in German that much. I will probably listen to them again on Golden Audiobooks because sadly BookBeat doesn't have the books in English and they also only have the abridged versions. And I really want to experience Percy's entire journey. So I eventually want to browse through this entire universe this year. Number 20 also focuses all around Greek mythology. This book is called LaRue by Alexandra Becken. I believe this book is about the Greek gods in sort of like the Hunger Games telling that they sort of have to defeat each other or work together. I'm not sure. I immediately put it on my TBR because people said it was amazing, and I will get into it and maybe find out that I was completely wrong. But right now I think this is the plot of the book, and if I'm completely wrong, please tell me. The next one is a classic, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is my number one on my TBR for October. I really want to read it because it's such a classic, and I've had it for 2 years and I can't believe that I still haven't read it, and I badly want to experience that book. I really wanted to read that book in October last year, but sadly October was a really bad reading month. A month where I was in a slump. I'm sorry. So yeah, I really hope I can get to that book. Number 22 is a book that I'm currently reading, which is Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kazniar? I'm so bad with names. This book is based on The Nutcracker. I love the ballet by Tchaikovsky. I danced ballet for 14 years and I loved it so much. I miss it dearly. I was only doing it as a hobby like once a week. Not professional at all. I feel like I always have to say it because this person was not great on point shoes. Anyway, this book tells the story of Marietta Stell, who is a ballet dancer but is actually not allowed to dance anymore, and she's actually obligated to marry someone and find her place in Edwardian society, and she's like, I don't want to do that. And a new neighbor shows up whose name is Dr. Drosselmeyer. I always say Dr. Drosselmeyer because that's how I know him. And this book just screams Christmas and winter, and I actually wanted to read it in December, really, but I didn't have the book yet. I bought it after Christmas and now I'm reading it, and since we are supposed to have snow, like next week, I hope I can read this while the snow is falling outside of my windows. But I'm really excited to read this book. I read the first 10 pages yesterday and I am already so in love with it. I didn't want to mention it in this video because ever since I saw the cover, like look at this. Well, you already saw it. I was so in love with this book without even knowing what it was about. Just knowing the ballerina on the cover and knowing that this is based on the Nutcracker, I had to get it. These were 22 books I'm really excited about. My goal for this year is to read as diverse as possible, and sadly I know that this list is not as diverse as it could be, so please, if you read amazing books with lots of queer representation, people of color representation, female protagonists by female authors, anything that represents LGBTQ+ people in the best light, in the best way, please let me know. I think it's very important that we give authors of minorities a voice, and I can't wait to get into their writing this year. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and comment down below what you would like to see next. Tell me what books you are excited about to read this year. What is your number one that you badly want to get to? What is a book that was on your TBR for forever and you still haven't read it? Please write it down below, I would love to know. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, and don't forget to click the little bell next to the subscription button to never miss an upload. Someday I will put this on a shirt. All my social media, including my Patreon, is linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye! Yeah. So yeah, I really want to read the movie. Exactly. But the book Thief by... I'm embarrassing myself. This book tells the story. Bloop. Sorry, I'm distracted. By the way, I hate how I say January, February? What? I don't know. This is a prequel, this is a sequel, this is a... Mira! This story surrounds... I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. I'm gonna get something to eat. Wow. I can't do anything. Bye, guys. I love you.